Today we're delighted to announce the squad of the Four Nations tournament, which I'm sure you'd agree after and follows one of the most epic grand finals I think we've all seen. Our chairman John Grant will announce that squad shortly. Firstly, however, I wanted to advise you of the position the NRL has taken in relation to two players, Andrew Fifita and Semi Radradra. Andrew clearly is a talented footballer and played a very key role in the Sharks' grand final victory. However, we believe that to wear the Australian jersey, the most prestigious jersey in our game, you should have to distinguish yourself both on and off the field. As you know, Andrew is currently being investigated by the Integrity Unit after wearing an armband supporting someone convicted of a violent offence. While that may not have been illegal, it was in poor taste in the extreme. Andrew was suspended for 6 weeks last year for abusing a junior match official and has been involved in other off-field incidents. We therefore determined that Andrew should not be considered for selection in the Australian squad for the Four Nations tour, and we delivered that advice to the Australian selectors. I hope this decision will be seen for what it is: our determination to build a culture in the Kangaroos which every Australian can be proud of. And more broadly, I hope players realise that misbehaviour can, in future, lead to them missing out on their dream of playing for their country. I also hope that Andrew will learn from this decision, deal with his off-field issues, and return to the Australian team soon. In regards to Semi Radradra, you would all be aware he's facing very serious charges, which are due to be heard at the end of the Four Nations tournament. While the NRL will always give its players the presumption of innocence, we don't want either him or the team to be distracted by this case, and we think that Semi should devote all his time and energy to this very important legal matter. Consequently, the NRL has determined that Semi should not be considered for selection for the Four Nations squad, and the selectors have accepted that recommendation. These are significant decisions, and it is an important day for the game. It's a day that we took a stand against poor behaviour off the field, with the ultimate sanction in our sport missing the chance to represent your own country. I hope every player in the NRL heeds the warnings and we never have to use this again. But if we have to, we will. I'll now ask the chairman to announce the squad for the Four Nations, and we can take any additional questions at the end. Thanks, John.
Thanks very much, Todd, and welcome to all of you who joined us this morning in what is going to be a significant few months for the Australian Kangaroos. Today marks the beginning of a new era, not the least of which Todd's already described. But today we are announcing the new squad of Australian Kangaroos for the Four Nations tournament in the United Kingdom. The 17 players for the October 15 Test match against New Zealand in Perth will come from these 24 players and will be confirmed early next week. There are 7 debutants in the squad. It's a fresh and exciting squad that we believe can bring home the Four Nations. So I'll read the squad with the captain first, followed by the players in alphabetical order. The captain of the Kangaroos, from Melbourne Storm, Cameron Smith. From Brisbane Broncos, Darius Boyd. From Canberra Raiders, Shannon Boyd, and a debutant. From Sydney Roosters, Boyd Cordner. From Melbourne Storm, Cooper Cronk. From St George Illawarra Dragons, Josh Dugan. From Sydney Roosters, Blake Ferguson. Also from Sydney Roosters and a debutant, Jake Friend. From St George Illawarra Dragons, debutant Tyson Frizzell. From Brisbane Broncos, Matt Gillette. From Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, debutant Valentine Holmes. From South Sydney Rabbitohs, Greg Inglis. From Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, David Clemmer. From Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, James Maloney, debutant. From Penrith Panthers, Josh Mansour. Also from Penrith Panthers, Trent Merrin. From the North Queensland Cowboys, Michael Morgan. From Penrith Panthers again, Matt Moylan, debutant. From North Queensland Cowboys, Justin O'Neill, debutant. From the Canberra Raiders, Josh Papali. From the North Queensland Cowboys, Matt Scott. From the Brisbane Broncos, Sam Thaiday. From the North Queensland Cowboys, Jonathan Thurston. And finally from West Tigers, Aaron Woods. Thanks very much. I'll now open it up to questions.
Sure. There's been discussions had with both of their management this morning to ensure they knew before we made the announcement, yes.
Is that why you waited till today to Andrew to celebrate?
I think John and I spoke yesterday along with Mal, and we reflected that yesterday was a big day for Cronulla, and we thought that it was apt that we delay it till this morning.
How long ago did you make the call, Todd?
In relation to those players, we spoke to the selectors last week.
And did that apply to the Clive Churchill battle as well?
No, it did not.
When can we expect a final result on final sanction authorising Andrew?
Well, we're still working and we're still awaiting for some additional information from the police. And like a number of matters over the last few months, Parramatta is a good example of us taking enough time to get to the end, and then any resultant impacts that come from the end of an investigation, we're not going to do it in the middle of it. And there's a lot of information we're still awaiting, so that's why it hasn't been completed yet, and I can't put a time frame on it.
So there's a few players in the squad who have been in trouble, make bad headlines as well in the past. How do they get the nod under this new culture that you're speaking about?
Oh, I think there's some players in there that have been great stories because they have actually turned some things around. And that's clearly what we hope to see that the game does with other players as well, and Andrew's like that. But on this occasion, we've made these decisions on these players.
Mal, how did you feel about this edict from the NRL?
I support it, so I believe, in all honesty, that that the Kangaroos jersey, green gold jersey, should be held in high esteem. I believe all the players should be great role models, not only on the field but off the field. So, and I sat with the players, before the Anzac Test recently in Newcastle, and they're all of the same view. So, we've drawn a line in the sand around behaviour, and I think the Kangaroos should be held that in high esteem. That players players, they should be our greatest ambassadors.
So, John, just to get it straight, Semi-Brad Radker has pleaded innocent. So from
Yes.
now on, if you're facing charges, you can't play for the Kangaroos.
No, that's not what I'm saying, and we're doing every on its merits. But what we are saying that this is a very important tournament for this team, very important tournament for Mal, and the last thing we want to see is that being overtaken by issues around that matter being held in the courts. And we don't want the team distracted, so we've taken a decision that both for the team and for Semi, that he's not touring.
John, have you seen any remorse from Andrew? Because I guess it was those quotes in the paper a few weeks ago. He seemed to think, he really hadn't done anything wrong. Does he now, knowing this has been taken away from him, he understands?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him directly. That's probably a question for him rather than me. But I'm not prepared to make any final determinations on this whole matter until such time as Integrity complete their work.
What was his attitude like when he met the Integrity unit?
Look, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't there. But he's part the way through that. I mean, he's given them some information, but clearly there's a lot of information we're still awaiting. And again, we can't put timelines on this because that information comes from third parties. On this occasion, it's from the police, and we're still awaiting for some information to come through.
Mal, how hard or not hard or easy was it to leave Gal and his partner out?
Well, they've been great servants to the game. We all know that. They've worn the green gold jersey with put it in high regard. But we move on. We've picked the side, I think, who are the best players playing the game at the moment, and with an eye to the future as well. So, it was hard. We sat around the table and discussed all it, discussed the loyalty, discussed respect. But at the end of the day, we've got to pick what's best for the team and the Kangaroos going forward as well.
Now, Blake and Josh have both had their fair share of off-field controversy. When they were in camp with you before, and the whole new edict you're taking with this jersey, were you impressed?
Absolutely, and they were very vocal in our meetings that we facilitated around values and the Kangaroo DNA, and they believe in it as well. So I'm very, very happy with their attitudes and the way they've regenerated their lives, and they're getting on with things, which is great.
John, what do you see as a difference between playing club football, which these two players have been able to do, and playing for the Kangaroos?
Well, firstly, they have a contract to play club football with their clubs, and they're bound by the contract, and it's a contract of employment, so they need to stay employed, and when they can stay employed. So I think that's the first thing. There's no contract to be a Kangaroo. It's a privilege and an honour to be a Kangaroo. And when you step up to being a Kangaroo, we're going to look at what's happening at that point in time and make a determination, which is exactly what we've done.
Can this type of edict spill down into Origin as well? Do you think you have the power to do
The way that our constitutions framed, the New South Wales Rugby League and Queensland Rugby League select the team, but you saw in the selection of in the sort of the run up to the State of Origin this year, you saw Queensland Rugby League take a very firm move on 10 players who really broke the rules so far as State of Origin teams within Queensland are concerned, and were not available for selection. So I think you're already seeing that, and I would think, given our relationship, which is now very strong with both of those leagues, that you'll see this sort of cultural statement flow down to the State of Origin as well.
And Mel, with semi-rad radar, how did you feel, what was it, a month, 6 weeks after you played for Australia, then talking about switching over to rugby league? How did you feel about that?
Well, we talked, so we had a bit of a yarn about what his plans were in the future, but he gave me assurances that he's going to commit to his contract and stay in league and play for the Parramatta club. So that was enough for me. Sammy sat through that meeting we had around the Kangaroo DNA and around respect and selflessness and things like that, the things that we hold dear to us. And he's made sure he's come true on his promises.
So did you sort of seek him out when all that was going on?
He rang me. So for me, I think that's a great show of support for the Kangaroo program and where he's heading.
Now, could I ask you about a couple of players? Firstly, James Tedesco missed out. Was he close?
Very close, very close. When you sit around a table and try to select a team to go overseas, 24 players, then you got to try and get the mix right, the balance right. Positionally, you got to get the numbers right. So it's very difficult to put all those players, and James was part of all that, and we chose obviously Darius Boyd, who's the premier fullback at the moment, and Matt Moylan. So unfortunately he misses out.
And Jack Bird?
Jack Bird?
Close at any point?
He was again discussed, but then again it's you got to make a decision what's best for the team and the numbers and where they play, and we've got some really good versatile players in Michael Morgan and Matt Moylan as well. So but he's close to the picture again. So players that you're talking about are not out of the picture. They'll be vying for that position again next year.
Well, and injuries cost.
There's one who's in there, Jake Friend. He bypasses Origin. It's hard for him to get a game.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the exact reason. If Cameron Smith had one game off, I think Jake Friend would be the Queensland hooker.
Mel, did injuries cost Croker and Laylock?
Again, they were discussed again, but I thought that Josh Dugan and Justin O'Neill, who had a fantastic Origin series this year and has been playing really well for his club for the last 2 years, deserve their spots. But I talked to Joey and to Jared. They could possibly have been right for the tour, but at the end we went for the fit players.
And what about James Maloney? When did he start really firming in your mind as a player taking this tour?
Jimmy's been in the picture for a while, I reckon. Just his success on the field with the clubs that he's been with, obviously suggests that, he's a player of influence. His Origin series this year I thought was extremely good, and he played 7 games through with Matty Moylan at 6, so that sort of influenced our decision as well. But then, obviously playing a big part in Cronulla's success this year, he sort of, he made his statement, and he deserved to be in the football side.
Does his selection contradict the fact that you're looking forward?
Not really. He's probably the best next number 7, I would suggest.
And what did you like about Shad Boyd?
Big unit, fast, good mobility, can get the team on the front foot. He's certainly a player that's in the prime at the moment and will be, for many years to come. So he's pushed his way into the football side. I think he's a tremendous player.
Now, one priority is ability. When you sit down, do you actually think about each player's personality?
Yeah, dynamic wise, I think that's important with the team. How you think they're going to mix in. That's why games like the PM's 13 is a very important game for us, and that's why we picked such a strong side, just to get a feel for the players and get to know them a bit more and how they fit into the team environment. And you obviously talk to coaches and players about different people. They're generally your best markers as well. So it comes down to the dynamics of the football team. It comes so you don't just pick a team based on their pure potential. It's off-field behaviour, which is important, but also how they fit into the team dynamics as well.
Have
Yeah, I've spoken to him. Yeah, already this morning. Yeah, he was disappointed, Corey. So, but again, he understood. I mean, I was just, obviously you're honest in your conversations, and I think players are, playing better than he is at the moment, and they deserve their chance, to get into the footy side, and that's simple, really. And obviously, like I said before, we've got an eye to the future too. So people like Trent Merrin and Tyson Frizzell, those type of players are terrific players and deserve their spots.
Was it a tough phone call today?
Always is. That's the toughest job you can do, I think, in coaching. I think you do in life is to tell someone they're not part of something, special. So, yeah, it was a difficult conversation to have.
And when did you break the news to Gal?
This morning, so yeah. It was, Gal's, he's a true professional, and he took it on the chin as well, and he understood the situation, which was great, and he was part of, and both Corey and Gal were part of those conversations that we had, prior to the Anzac Test, and they bought into that. They believe, in the values and the Kangaroo DNA moving forward. So, and we pick our best players, and with that in mind, he said fair enough.
Now, just with Fafita, on ability alone, where does he rank for you in terms of front row?
He's one of the best front rowers in the game. There's no doubt about that. But there's more to playing for Australia than just ability.
What have you made of the Kiwis, what they announced this morning?
I haven't seen it, to be honest with you, but it will be a very strong squad. There's no doubt about that. They'll be a lot stronger than the team they put out, in May this year.
They've got a few injuries, but they've recalled someone like Jared Hargraves, expecting him to be fired up after his 2-3 year exodus from the international stage.
Absolutely, he'll have a point to prove. So he'll want to sort of re-establish his, status in the game as one of the top front rowers in the game. So he's got a great opportunity against us in Perth.
Todd, does it upset you that, the season's been ended like this? Like, we had one of the best grand finals ever, and, you're still having to come out hard on players.
No, it doesn't disappoint me. I mean, this is the reality of what we do. There's a Kangaroos tour that's now got 24 great players who'll be on it. We have to deal with these issues from time to time, and when we do, we do.
Can I just add, I think it's a really positive statement. I don't think it's negative at all. You've got a very clear set of understanding now about where we come from, and that'll be going forward, and it'll cause players to think, we hope, and that's part of their life experience. And the team is better for this, and rugby league in Australia is better for this.
But do you get sick of waking up on the set of payments today that they've made without missing out when 2 days after the grand final you should be celebrating? Surely you get sick of it.
That's up to you what you write and how you carry the game forward.
Precisely.
That's not up to us. We make clear decisions, and we're being transparent and open with our decision-making process this morning. How you report it is up to you.
Now, do you think the Kiwis, obviously the change of the coach, are they caught hot a bit, are they behind the 8 ball a little bit?
I wouldn't think so. We won't be playing as if they're going to be, but we've got an exciting group of young men who are going to represent Australia shortly. So, and as John mentioned, we've got a lot of debutantes, exciting debutantes, and I'm looking forward to working with them, and looking forward to being successful in the Four Nations tournament.
How will you approach the Perth game, Val? Are you going to pick your strongest 7?
Yep, we pick our strongest 7 as a test match.
And what about the tournament as a whole? Where can you see maybe some of the players on the fringe?
Yeah, well,
Better history of some not getting a go.
yeah, exactly. So we'll pick our strongest team in Perth and then reevaluate. We'll see how the players are, particularly the players just finished the competition, see how they are physically. But I would suggest that Scotland would be a good chance for us to mix and match some of the players. Give people like James Maloney an opportunity and Matty Moylan an opportunity in that game, and then we'll see how the tour progresses. And it's not just cut. Because they're on the tour, if they play really well against Scotland, and we give some of the fringe players or not in the test team in Perth an opportunity, and they come up, well, that puts them in good stead for the games leading up to the final if we do make it.
Now, Brett Morris might be someone else who's lucky.
He's injured. Yeah.